So let's talk about the clairs, which we're talking about psychic abilities. The word psychic is a Greek word that means of the soul. And so when it comes to developing psychic abilities, also known as the clairs, there is an awareness that is really within the deepest parts of our being, our truest nature, our soul level. And as we exercise these abilities, this awareness through these abilities, it's almost like opening up access to a lighthouse. We'll use a lighthouse to our soul is what we'll call it. This lighthouse is useful in difficult times or times of uncertainty as we're traveling through life. Okay. Think of a ship traveling on a sea that has lots of fog covering the water. Normally you wouldn't be able to see. There would be no visibility, but the lighthouse is something that is able to pierce through that fog, allowing there to be some sort of clarity and some sort of direction or a path in which to travel to get to shore. These abilities is just like that lighthouse. Sometimes it comes through as a piece of wisdom when you need it. Sometimes it's a vision for the next steps that you need to be led to take. Sometimes it comes through as symbols or just an inner knowing. Sometimes it's a validation of an important decision that you need to make. But when we hone in and actually commit to develop these abilities, it's almost like blessing ourselves with a chance to really have this greater sense of understanding with everything around us. Also, it gives us the ability to connect as well on a deeper level with others around us, which leads to this very beautiful level of insight and healing that happens naturally as a result. And so it's not only something that benefits you, but it also benefits those around you. The word psychic is also a very general term, and so it is referring to many different areas of ability, not just one, or not just one group, shall I say. Just like if we were to use the word doctor, that very well could be pointing to many different areas, many different specialties. In that same way, we can look at the word psychic that way as well. It represents many different gifts. It represents many different sensitivities. Depending on the type of receiver, one is the psychic may be able to see. The psychic may be able to feel. They may be able to hear or sense, or maybe just have a knowing, or there could be a combination of all of those things coming through as giftings for that person. And so these different giftings are commonly known as the clairs. They're spiritual mechanisms where we are designed to receive. So they are actually quite a few clairs, and we're going to discuss a few of them here, starting off with primarily 4, which are clairvoyance, which means clear seeing, clairsentience, which means clear feeling, clairaudience, which means clear hearing, and claircognizance, which means clear knowing. And so it's important to know which clair you have, or which clair represents your abilities. And that's going to allow you to direct your time usefully in developing that particular gift. And if you choose to, you can even choose to use that in a way that would allow you to direct and focus your psychic practices if you choose to. So that's the primary 4. In order to actually tap into these gifts or these areas of sensitivity, It's actually necessary to do what we would call shadow work, to do some clearing out of old beliefs, old ideas, and to do some meditation as well. This is almost like not necessarily having to learn something new, but it's remembering who you are in essence, or what you've been called here to do. So that unlearning is a process of allowing you to remember, or your memory to be refreshed and to come back into your authentic being. You're not learning to use them. They've always been there. And many times they are developed through meditation, which brings you closer to the strengths that you carry and those most natural functions embedded within you. So here's a few questions to consider. If you take out a piece of paper, you can pause it if you need to run and get a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil and mark down these questions, yes or no, to each of them. Okay, and we'll discuss them after you answer them. Question number 1. As a learner, are you supported with visual aids? Question number 2. Do you play out life scenarios and scenes in your mind's eye on a regular basis? Or do you have an active imagination? Question number 3. Do you ever wake up in the middle of the night with an idea and often can't go back to sleep until you get up and write that idea down? Question number 4, do you ever wake up in the middle of the night with a gut feeling that something's going to happen, or either to you or to someone else, but you just don't know what it is? Question number 5, do you easily feel the emotion of those around you? Question number 6, do you feel a tension or an uneasy in large crowds or busy spaces? Is it overwhelming to you? Question number 7, do you like to write, or are you good at putting words together to describe or explain things? Question number 8, when others are speaking about their problems, do you hear words in your head that are often solutions? Question number 9, do you ever have an experience where it's as if someone else is speaking in your head? Question number 10, do you ever just know something without really knowing how you know, and it turns out to be true? Question number 11, would you say that you often follow that gut instinct successfully? Question number 12, do you consider yourself a quick decision maker or problem solver? And so now, as you look at each question, you answered yes or no. If you answered yes to questions 1 through 3, likely you received through your third eye. This is also called inner vision, and you're clairvoyant. If you answered yes through questions 4 through 6, consider yourself sensitive and tuned into emotional undercurrents of energy, and you're clairsentient. If you answered yes to questions 7 through 9, you're able to hear and channel into the form of words, and so you're clairaudient. And if you answered yes to questions 10 through 12, your sense of inner knowing is strong, and you're claircognizant. So when we look at the giftings around clairvoyancy, we're looking at people who are often primarily mediums or seers and tarot readers. Those who are clairsentient are usually like body healers and empaths. Those who are clairaudient are usually channelers and speakers and spirit writers. And then those who are claircognizant are intuitives and spiritual teachers, as well as counselors and guides. So as you can see, it's pretty exciting, right? It's fun to take a peek into where you naturally are gifted or where you fit in with the various different categories of these giftings of psychics. For most of us, we're more than just one, right? And that's definitely okay. It's even possible to be all of them. And so with that information, you can choose maybe one or two that you'd like to actually develop first and kind of start to expand from there, right? Some other ways that you may be able to learn about the potential that you have as a psychic is through your sun sign, right? So in your house, whatever sign is in your sun sign, you can take a peek into it to look at your psychic potential and the way in which you receive. So this would be specifically through an esoteric astrologer, which can also help you learn more about the whole of your spiritual abilities based in your chart. And when we take a look at water signs, for instance, if you have a water sign in your chart, in the sun sign, we're looking at Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. These are natural psychics. And the water element is associated with intuition and emotional abilities or being tapped in that way. It's pretty powerful, a pretty powerful combo for these extremely sensitive signs. And these multi-talented zodiac signs can master many different aspects of psychic and healing arts, and then put them together in combinations and powerful healing experiences. If one of your sun signs landed in a fire sign, which is Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, these signs often receive through swift flashes of light and spurts of ideas and channeled creativity. These signs are gifted teachers and speakers. They absorb information and then they also easily share it, whether they're sharing it in their surroundings or whether they're sharing it from above. They also are apt to explore outside of ordinary reality as well, like psychedelics, breath work, and physical tests of inner stamina, such as periodic fasting, which can be a way in which to tap powerfully into cosmic awareness. And so that's for the fire signs. And if your sun sign falls into an air sign, which is Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, these signs receive through listening. They commonly hear voices and they're highly communicative. Their intuition operates in short bursts. And they usually are gifted channelers, advisors, teachers, and or guides. And psychedelic writing and tarot cards are excellent tools for the air signs because they make very quick connections between ideas and pictures and concepts and information, right? And then we have the earth signs. If your sun sign happens to be one of the earth signs, which is Taurus, Virgo, or who do we have left? Capricorn. These signs receive through impression, through their five senses of tasting, touching, hearing, smelling, and seeing. And these signs are most naturally grounded psychics. They usually have kinesthetic sensibilities that make wonderful hand-on healers and medical intuitives. They're usually quite sensitive to the physical body as well, and they usually tend to engage in earth-based spiritual practices such as shamanism, right? So it really doesn't matter what your sign is. All of these signs have some aspect of excitement that you can undertake. It's also joyful and rewarding as you experience and begin to kind of put the pieces of your puzzle together and start taking a full look at, where you lie within these abilities. And so now that you have a better understanding of the 4 basic clairs that we just talked about, which we'll be starting with and learning in detail, take some time just to kind of think back to ways that you've already possibly used these giftings without even realizing that you were doing it, or without having, a name attached to these abilities or functions that you were operating in. And as you think back, were you intentionally doing this, or was this something unintentionally that you were doing? And can you remember where it happened? And then as you look at your zodiac sign, whatever your sun sign is, that's telling you about your element and how you receive, right? Just ask some questions, after listening about what's been said. And then we're going to go ahead and with what we just talked about, we're going to dive into more details about these 4 basic clairs. So go ahead and go to the next video. If this is something that you want to dig deeper into and learn more about, I'll see you over there. All right.